So we're here at El Cuestro Station where we're just about ready to get on a helicopter. We're gonna take off over the hills behind me and then we're gonna head towards the mangroves. I'm really not sure what we're gonna see, but I'm hoping for some cool textures and patterns. All right, well, here we go. This is looking like a great day to fly. We're just flying up Emma Gorge. Wow, look at how deep those go down. And look at that, there's still some water down there. It looks like they may have had some late rains this year. We're coming up across the top now. Wow, the view is quite expansive. All right, so we're along the river now, and then as we continue on, we can really see that river is really winding along. We're getting to the flat area now, where we can see where the water has dried and receded and it's left these beautiful shapes and patterns in the mud. We see these mangroves going off like they're in little tendrils where there is more water by the river and where it's flattened out here and it's really, really dry. Oh, this is fantastic. They look like little miniature trees just laying down. You can see how they go from brown to white with the salt that's been deposited there. These are some fantastic shapes. The helicopter pilot is doing an excellent job. We're actually banking a little bit to the left and right so we can shoot more straight down on these mud flats and mangrove areas. Ah, this looks gorgeous. Look at those patterns right there. See how the river was higher and it's just left these absolutely beautiful textures right next to those mangroves. From this height looking down, you really can't tell the scale of the scene. You really kind of lose perspective, and that's what I really like. That's what I was looking for today as we flew over this area. So I've been switching back and forth between two lenses. I've got a wider angle lens that's just a 28 to 70, and then a longer lens that is a 70 to 200. That's just enabling me to kind of zoom in to the pattern areas. I've also got my shutter speed quite high. The helicopter is bouncing a little bit and I just want to make sure that I get nice, sharp images. It's time to head back, and you know what? I think I've got exactly what I wanted, so I'm going to relax a little bit and just take the camera away and actually be a participant now and just watch this beautiful scenery on the way back to Emma Gorge.
Well, that was an amazing flight. I can't believe the amount of scenery there. Not only did we fly up the gorge, we were also able to look at all the different mud flats. It was amazing. I am definitely in my happy place.
So today we're working out of our mobile office. We found a nice shady spot here under this tree, but with a beautiful boab tree behind me. They've got to be my favorite tree. Let's go ahead and start looking at the images from this morning's flight. So I've made a quick collection of images that I really liked, and I just want to go through them quickly. I'm going to move over to the develop module, and I just want to show you kind of a before and after so you get an idea of where we're going to go with the processing on these. So the area was quite flat this morning because of course it is flat dirt, but also flat in that there wasn't a lot of contrast out there. So this is how the image started off. This is the before, and then you see that I've added contrast in order to pull out and differentiate between all of the different values. Here's another example. Look at those gorgeous organic shapes that are created by the water. Again, here is before and here is after. I'll move to this next image. I just really liked the curves in this image as well as those little mangroves and how it comes to those 2 points, almost like, I have to admit, it reminded me of a crocodile snout. So here's the before and there's after. And of course, sometimes you see shapes that are just really fun. And of course, I'm in Australia, so I'm thinking that this looks like a kangaroo, and I think it does. But again, here is the before and the after. You can see I've just added a lot of contrast. Another image right here, again, before and after, more contrast being added, and we'll do that just in a moment. Here we've got the nice horseshoe of the river with all of the mangroves going outwards from it. Again, just some quick changes before and after. All right, this image right here I thought was absolutely gorgeous. I love the white along the top and the way that it just looks like it's emptying down into the green rivers. So here, it was really the colors that actually caught my eye. Again, we can do a before and after, just lightening it up a little bit and adding more contrast. And then here was along the mangroves, right along the river where I saw this really intricate pattern. I just love the way that the ripples of the water left all of those lines within the mud. All right, and here's a before and after. One of the things I did here is I just filled in that little gap where there were no mangroves using the healing brush. All right, let's move to this next image. This is the image that I want to work through. I'm going to quickly reset it, and you'll see that I've made quite a few changes. In fact, when I took the photograph, it was actually in this orientation. But of course, we have creative liberty with Lightroom, so I went ahead and rotated it. Then I selected the crop tool. I went ahead and just straightened that bottom part. And I also made the image a little bit smaller, just cropping in something maybe like this. I want to just make sure that I leave enough space at the top there for that second darker shape right here. All right, after applying that crop, I would use the basic panel. Here, I want to just increase the whites a little bit just to make sure that they're the brightest value that I can get them, because we only have a certain amount of dynamic range and I really want to make those areas pop. We could also increase the highlights if we wanted to. I might also increase the shadow area there, just pulling out a little bit more information, a little more detail from those shadowed areas. And then I'm going to pull down my blacks just to get a little bit more contrast there between the darkest areas and the lightest areas. Now, one thing you might notice is that there's a little bit of blue in the shadows. So I'm going to scoot down to the HSL, which is hue, saturation, and luminosity. I'm going to grab the saturation tab here and just pull down those blues. That's just going to remove that blue color from the shadow areas, and I like that better. All right, returning to the basic panel, I want to add a little bit of contrast along the edges, and I can do that with either texture or clarity. I think texture gives it a nice bit of texture, like it makes it look sharper, but the clarity is actually going to enhance this area right here where the water drained out and is now that darker color. We could also add a bit of dehaze to the image if we want to. I think this one's fine without it. That would also add contrast, but it would primarily take the shadow area down, and I like the overall exposure as is. Now, I would just do a few other things here to remove any distracting elements. I would zoom in right to this area, then select the healing brush. I'm just going to use this mode that's called Content Aware so that Lightroom can actually make up information. I'm going to get a little bit smaller of a brush, and I'm just going to take out the trees right along this water line right here. And then if I need to, I can just swipe over that again in order for Lightroom to make up information to fill in that area. And all I'm trying to do is just clean up that line. So I might come over here as well and remove that. And then let's get rid of this shadow as well, because that's a tree that we can't even see because it is off the frame. So let's remove that, see if it fills it with water. And it almost does, but I can always hit refresh if I don't like the results and have it recalculate. All right, I'm going to click just one more time right here to fill that in. And then let's go ahead and zoom back out, and we can do a real quick before, and that's after. Well, I think today was a tremendous success. I'm super happy with the abstract images that I captured and processed through Lightroom.